This is Reinvention with Leif Welhaven. We're a video podcast. We do video, audio, and what we do each week is we come to you with different stories of reinvention, different people talking about reinventing themselves, reinventing their business, their finances, their wealth, their health. You name it, we talk about it. And so today we have this amazing guest in the house, a person who's very special to me, Arica Lipp with Arica Lipp Photography. And so just a little bit about Arica. She's got a huge following. Everybody in this area just absolutely loves her and embraces her, not only because of her talent, but because she has this amazing soft heart and because she's all about you. And so recently she came to me and says, we need to get some like new pictures of you, Leif, because you're like so handsome and you're just so amazing. No, she didn't really say that part, but yes, she did say I needed some new headshots and some new, what I would call lifestyle photos. And so I met with her, and it was just like a discovery meeting. She was just, what do you want to do? What do you want this to be about? Let's let your personality come through. And then, of course, she offered some great suggestions, but the whole thing was about me. It wasn't about her and her business. It was about what she could do for me, which I think there's a huge lesson in life right there. But anyway, we'll get to talking to Arica here and hear about her story. But Arica, thanks for being on the show today. We appreciate it.
Hey, I'm humbled and happy to be here, Leif.
Humbled and happy to be here. I love that. See, that's why she's so successful. It's because she's humble, people. So let's just jump right into it. So I've got some questions for you. We're live on Facebook, which will be really, really cool. And so if people want to chime in and they have some questions for us, they can sure do that. But anyway, we'll just jump right in. So tell us a little bit about maybe where your business was at. Let's kind of start from the beginning when you started, which I think was 2015-ish. Mm-hmm. Okay, so tell us what you were doing maybe before you started your business.
Well, I would say a lot of women can relate to me because I was a mom. And I used to be an artist, and that's what I went to school for art and dance. And when you have children, it's really difficult to give them the attention that they need as well as be an artist, and couldn't really paint and draw and sculpt under that time. And so I picked up a camera and started to photograph my family. And I had this moment where it hit me that I was able to be that artist again.
Okay.
People were always my passion. I always drew portraits, and so the face and the soul was everything to me in my artwork. And now I had a new medium to work with, and so I decided that I was going to give it my all and not just make this a hobby. I wanted to be the best at it. No one, in my opinion, should pick up a paintbrush thinking they just want to be halfway at it.
Sure,
you want to be the best. You want to do everything you have to give. And so with the camera, I had to invest in education, practice some more, learn from some mistakes. And one of the biggest mistakes wasn't really happening in the camera. It was happening in my mindset.
Sure, absolutely. Which I think is a lot of our problems, right? We can't get out of our own way.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted so bad to feel validated as a photographer that I was trying to shoot things that I thought people wanted to pay for. And that was the biggest mistake I made starting out. So if anyone's listening that's aspiring to do photography, don't do that.
Right.
Be true to yourself instead. And it was in January 18th, 2018, I believe it was the moment that I knew I was going to be a photographer, a good photographer. I was going to make it.
Wow. It's always good to have that self-realization and kind of come to Jesus like, hey, I got this, man. I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to nudge you just because you're so sweet, is to make sure you're speaking nice and loud because, yes, you're so sweet. But anyway, so you decided back in that year that, hey, I can do this. I feel empowered, and here we go, right?
Yeah.
So tell us what was happening in your life then. Not just, you talked about the artist and being a drawing and looking into people's soul through the face, and you had overcome this mindset. But what was happening in your personal life at the same time?
My personal life is pretty good. But when we approach, I don't know, in the personal life, like I've got 4 or 5 kids now. And trying to balance.
Is it 4 or is it 5? I'm teasing you.
Depending on what part of the career you're talking. So my youngest is now 2. So we're looking at trying to find the balance of, am I going to keep balancing both my work and my family successfully, or maybe not as successfully as I'd like.
Right.
There was a big shift there on how I was able to manage it now, to where I'm fulfilling both needs in my
Sure.
life, for my family and my work.
Because that work-life balance is difficult.
Yes.
And I talk about this a lot with women, and in particular women business owners, and I'm not picking on you. It's really honoring women, is that women have this innate ability to take on a lot, right? I mean, they're taking care of the kids. They're taking care of the husband. They're taking care of the meals. They're taking care of the cleaning. Oh, yeah, I've got to take care of my businesses. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to go work out because I'm supposed to look like this, and all these different things. I'm supposed to be active at church. All these different things that women just take on. And at some point, there has to be there's a breaking point. And so trying to keep that balance, right, has been difficult. So what have you found to keep you centered and keep you balanced?
It was really just a lot of, I don't know.
Yeah, you're fine.
There was a lot of conflict. I became desperate for validation, again, as a photographer, and it affected my home life, because I found myself accepting jobs for very little pay, because I couldn't justify spending all this time away from my family to work if I wasn't bringing in enough money to contribute to the household. That's really important to me. I want to support my family.
Sure,
I want to
absolutely.
be there and providing for them. But every time I did that, I was taking time away from them. And so I just had piled myself up and got so busy and tired. I was burnt out and not seeing financially any real progress for that. And I think that's another stumbling block you can get into.
Well, the photography business is not a cheap hobby to get into, right? I mean, there's definitely an investment into that business, and of course the space and your office and all the different things that you do. So I know that's not inexpensive, right?
No.
So I totally hear what you're saying. So anyways, you're a mom. You've got these busy kids. You're married. You're trying to start this business. You're trying to get out of your own way. So what did you? I mean, I guess I always like to ask people this. It's kind of one of my famous questions. Is so what is your why? Why did you decide to start the business? Why did you decide to kind of reinvent this last year, which we're going to get into? But what is your why? What drives you?
I would say being true to who I am was the biggest thing, and that engulfs me as a mom, that engulfs me as a wife, that engulfs me as an artist and as a businesswoman. I want to be able to look in the mirror and know that every decision I've made sits well with me,
right,
and sits well with God too.
Well, I like that.
So that's my why. I want my family to be happy. I want to contribute and make sure that they're not missing out on opportunities that I could be helping provide for. When you have 5 kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I have 2 and they're grown, and it's still difficult. I can barely handle that, and hers are like 5 and they're all at home. It's crazy.
There's the little costs add up, and so being able to ease that burden in our household is a huge blessing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, I know you've taken lots of great photos of a lot of, I would say, some very well-known people right here in town, and which I think has been great that you've been able to embrace that and people see that. So it's been a big shift in your business, and so we're going to talk about that, because it used to be called something different before Arica Lipp Photography.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. What was it called?
I was The Artistic Lens.
The Artistic Lens, which I love that. I love that name too. So what prompted you to change the name and to reinvent yourself in this business? Let's get to that.
Okay. So in January, I talk about when I decided I knew I was going to be a photographer in real time. Mm-hmm. It was because I photographed the way I wanted to photograph people. I wasn't trying to fit into another mold. Mm-hmm. And so I started producing this really great, amazing work that people loved and responded really well to. But I wasn't getting new clients. No one knew who I was.
Right.
And so about the time our paths crossed, I was sitting there and going, wow, I've mastered these things, but it's not bringing me new business. Why?
Sure.
And so that's when I reached out. The pandemic hit. It gave me that opportunity to really stop and look inward and go, what am I doing wrong? I couldn't figure it out. And when you can't figure it out,
sure,
you either give up or you find help from someone else.
Help. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
And so this, serendipity came into play, and I simultaneously just about reached out to Tracy Moore, a well-known, successful, and wonderful photographer,
Absolutely.
local. A lot of people know who she is, and anyone who's worked with her loves her.
Tracy Moore, she is legit.
And then you as well. So I reached out to both of you and said, hey, I'm stuck. I'm at a wall. I don't understand why I'm not getting the jobs. I see people, going to someone who's less expensive, and I see people going to someone who's more expensive. So I don't think it's the money, but everyone likes my work. So what am I doing wrong?
Sure.
And both of you said, well, your name's not in it. How are they going to remember you and associate you with your work if your name's not in it? I'm like, okay, here we go.
No, it's true, because hers is Tracy Moore Photography, and a lot of people call me LW Consulting or Leif Consulting, whatever. So no, it is. You got to kind of brand that name, and I know you're a good brander. I mean, that's one of your expertises for certain. So I think a lot of people during the pandemic were like, step back, take inventory of my life, right? Reflect, pause, rally, and go again. And so it was a good time for all of us to take a break and then kind of look at from that 30,000 foot view, so to speak, and really look at ourselves and our business. And so I think it's great that you were willing to do that, because a lot of people would have just went, like you said, well, what am I doing wrong? Well, I guess I'm just going to bag it. Maybe I'll do something else, or blame it on the pandemic, or blame it on this, and we're all good at that. And so I think it's impressive that you said, no, this is a time for me to change, shift, pivot, right, reinvent. And so I think that's important. So you changed the name of the business, and then what? Keep going.
Okay, so I changed the name of the business, and then Tracy, she made me do a very painful thing. She says, Arica, you need to pick something that you're really, truly passionate about to photograph. Because if you're trying to have your hands dipped into everything, you're never going to be great, at one certain thing.
Trying to pick your niche.
And it was niche, right? And it was one thing I've dreaded, because I'm very passionate about everything I photograph and everyone I photograph. And that was probably the most painful and difficult thing I've ever had to do in the business.
Sure.
Was decide what type of photography are you going to be a master of and an expert in, because I wanted it all.
Right.
I wanted to do it all.
Don't we all?
And she said, the truth is that I realized is that it wasn't me saying goodbye to all of that other work that I loved. It was doing one thing at a time. So if I'm standing in front of this big buffet of desserts, because I like my sweets, and someone says you only can have one, it's like, are you kidding? And that's what the feeling was like, in case someone doesn't have context.
Right. No, that's a great example.
And so I had to go through my portfolio, and I said, okay, what do I really love that I've shot? What is the thing that I could never part with? And I'm going through, and I saw a pattern. I got it down to 3, which is really good.
Okay.
Personal branding, creative senior work, senior high school seniors, and dance photography.
Awesome.
And I'm one of the only people that can do dancers, and so that was very special to me.
Right.
So those 3 are really huge and dear to my heart. And even then, she's like, okay, that just means triple the work of marketing. So it's not that I can't do all of that in photography. It's who am I going to market to? Because there's only so many hours in the day, and at the end of the day, you need to choose who you really want to shoot the most. And it came down to people. I really love people. I love their passion. I want to know their stories. I want to know, I want to help them be successful. And yeah, so I chose personal branding as my niche, my expertise, and focused on that. And then let's say, hey, if you say, hey, my friend has a high school senior coming up, can you shoot her senior work? I'd be absolutely, because you're my client, I know you, and you gave me that referral, you bet, and I'm going to rock it for that girl. We're going to have a blast. But when it comes to target marketing, that's when things started happening, because people are going, well, I'm looking for a headshot. I'm looking to change the look of my business. I don't have a photo of myself that I even want to share on social media.
Right.
Then they find me. And I do a dang good job for them, because I love what I do.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
And that's where you gotta go. And I don't don't regret it, and I still get the other opportunities to photograph what I love.
But you definitely narrowed it down, kind of narrowed it down to 3, and then there's a kind of a 1, 2, 3, or at least an order what you kind of are focusing. But I love how she's like Tracy said, well, that's just 3 times the work and 3 times the marketing, because that is so very true. And the cool thing was, I know when we met, I talk about this a lot, is that it was all about me, not only the discovery meeting or whatever you would call that, but when we actually did the shoot, I mean, you gave me like half your day, or like maybe even more of the day than that. It was just, I was like, this girl is like totally devoted to me. Hey, change your clothes, do you, whatever, let's go where you want, where you feel comfortable. If I put you in a pose and that doesn't feel right, you put yourself comfortably, and then I'll just shoot it. And it was just amazing the things that you saw in me and so when we released those photos, of course, we got these flood of wonderful comments from people, but it's been great because I've been able to use those photos in lots of different ways on social media, websites, marketing. And so I call them lifestyle photos, branding photos. And so it's more than just a headshot. It's all of it, right?
Oh gosh, don't ever ask me to do mini sessions, because I'll say no.
Right.
I just feel like it robs both of us from having that full experience. It's an experience to work with me, because you're going to have these different looks, you're going to have these different sides of you, a different pose, a different emotion, and we're not all one-sided. We're all very complex, and I want to capture all of that.
Wow.
Because if you're going to do a social media post one day about something, it's not going to be the same post about something the next day.
Right.
And you need a different look for that. Not just an outfit, but a different feeling, a different something. And, I do professional hair and makeup services the day of for my female clients. I cover all that in every session I do. And then I also provide for my male clients barber services, where it's a haircut, beard trim, razor, like professional razor. I mean, it's amazing to watch these professionals work.
I got to go back to that part. I missed that the first time.
Yeah.
The hot shave. Yeah, exactly.
You get a little facial. And I had a client walk out of there looking like 10 years younger. It was incredible. And he got a parking ticket.
It was worth it, though.
And he's like, I don't even care. And he's just walking on air. And I'm like, now I get to go photograph that man. That feels good.
Because what you just said struck a chord with me. Because I know how it made me feel. I just felt like I was on top of the world. Like we were talking about my buddy Colin Nygaard, and you're taking some photos of him. Yeah. And you just you puff up your chest, not in a boastful way, but oh my gosh, I feel so much better about myself. And if I feel better about myself, I'm going to feel better about serving my clients and serving my family and serving people, because that's what you said is your passion was people, right? And so I think that we cannot emphasize that enough. So she's great at bringing that out in you. So obviously it's an investment, right? We're not talking mini session where it's $99.99 and you get 3 wallets, 6 5x7s and 1 8x10, right? It's not like that.
And there's plenty of photographers, good ones, that'll do that. And that's just not me. That's not my process. So here's the question to ask yourself: how much are you losing when you don't have quality photos of yourself? If you're the face of your company or your brand, you're attracting certain clients. And going back to the consultation portion, which is the key component, I feel, to what I do with the work I create. If you were to write an essay on a topic that you don't know enough about, you're not going to produce a good essay.
Right.
If I'm trying to communicate visually what you're about and what your business's goals are, or attract a specific clientele based on an imagery, and I don't know what that client is, I don't know what your goals are and what you're passionate about, I can't do that properly.
Right.
So photographers that skip that step, you kind of have to question, do they have your interest at heart, or do they just want to get that shot in and be done with it? And so it works. Everyone has a budget you have to work with, but if you're really serious about your business, then I'm the photographer for you.
If you're serious about your business, I'm the photographer for you. I love that. That is powerful. This is all great. This is such invaluable information. So you changed your business, you changed the name, you focused in on your niche, things started exploding, you're taking all these lifestyle photos, branding photos, seniors, dance photos, things are just growing like crazy. So I know that there's what I would call a support system.
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't do it all on your own. I mean, I know I can't do it all on my own, although I've tried many times. So it always ends up in a dumpster fire. But so what's your support system? I know we talked a little bit about your why, but who's been supporting you? Who I know Tracy and Leif who get a lot of credit for it, but honestly, who is your support system?
So when we're talking the day-to-day a bit, or week-to-week and month-to-month, we're looking at number one, my husband.
Sure.
I could not do what I do without a full partner at home. When I have to work, he's a parent full on. He's in. And when same goes when he's at work, I'm full on mom. And I rearranged my schedule, so I am not working when he is working. My kids have a parent with them at all times. Now, not every situation's the same that they're blessed to do that, but for me, I feel very grateful I get to do that. So he's number one. Awesome. And even my teenage kids will, on an emergency, have to babysit their younger siblings. Got to give them credit. They don't have to do that. They're helping me out, which helps pay for their baseball or things like that.
But they see mom working hard. They see dad working hard. What a great example to set.
It is. It is. And to have two different styles, a traditional paycheck and an entrepreneur in the home. So whichever way path my children decide is for them, we can support them and they have an example to follow.
I'm going to jump in on that. So that is amazing because I tell this all the time. I grew up around parents. My dad was a truck driver. My mom was a teacher. And so they were paycheck. We were paycheck people. And so that's how I grew up. I wasn't around entrepreneurs, and I wish I had been. I mean, that's not a criticism of my upbringing. That's just how I was. But I always wanted to start my own business. I was always scared because I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to live? Because if the income's like this, how am I going to live, right? And but there became a point, probably like you, where I was like, okay, this is my path. This is where I'm supposed to go, and this is what I'm going to do. And the good news is it's all up to me. The bad news is it's all up to me, right? So, but anyway, so no, your support system is huge, and I know you're very thankful to have that support system that allows you to do what you do.
Yeah. And then I'm going to throw in, I have to mention these two organizations that really, that you steered me toward. That, oh my goodness, 1 million cups.
Right.
That was a moment, you guys. That was a moment in my career. If you haven't spoken at 1 million cups, I want you to call them and put it on your calendar, because that is a community of people who give you the most wonderful insight. It was valuable. And it also helped me in that moment to embrace who I was becoming as a brand, and also take in advice, more minds are better than one.
Right.
And that is a really great sounding board so definitely 1 million cups was a huge part of that. And then that introduced me to people, Scott Seary, and he brought me in and invited me to join his Biz to Biz group. The Biz to Biz groups are fantastic, you guys.
Good networking, good people. They're advocates for you and your business.
Yes, we support each other. We give each other Facebook shout outs a lot. We send referrals to each other. And it was really nice. There's no one trying to compete.
Sure.
I don't get into that competition game. It's not for me.
Right.
I didn't like high school drama.
Life's too short.
So I don't like business drama.
Right.
And so those are some really good organizations that I would highly recommend if you're looking for the networking events. Billings Chamber of Commerce, another great resource. And these are things that you should really be jumping into and carving out some time in your calendar to be an active participant in. Because they're beneficial. It's not a waste of time.
One I'm going to pick on real quick is that Million Cups piece, because I'm a part of that community as well. I think I invited you to speak at that. And it's kind of, you're almost kind of filleting yourself open, because you're sitting there going, this is my business. This is where I'm at. This is where I want to go. Help me. And you're asking for help, and you're asking for their insight. And so you got this team of people, entrepreneurs at all different levels in their path and their walk, and they're trying to figure things out too, but they know so much. And so I remember that day they were giving you, it was at the park, and they were firing all these things at you, all this really good information. You're like, whoa, I got to write this down. And to hear you say that word right there, that was a moment for me, because we all have those moments in life that are like, wow, that's a crossroads. My life just changed. And so to hear you say that out loud and talk about those things that you're involved in, wow, that's really powerful and encouraging to others, because there's help like that in our community, in those organizations, with people like Tracy, with people like your husband, all these people that have been just amazing in your life, right? Your faith life, I know, is important to you. So, I mean, it's just all good. So as we kind of look forward, how are things now in your business? So if you were to kind of step back now and just look at where things where we were last year, and maybe even where you were when you decided, hey, I'm gonna be a photographer, and then you'd settled on a name, and then you changed, reinvented, and things are rocking and rolling now. Because I mean, everybody and their dog seems to know you and love you, right? Oh, no. That's just because you've given and you've been available and you've shown up for people in the community, and I love that. So tell me now, like, how are things now going for Arica Lipp Photography?
I think they're going really, really great. I get to work and meet with some amazing individuals. I've fallen in love with myself as a businesswoman, not just a photographer. I've always loved my work, but the business side and my brand, owning who I am, has been really like liberating, because like my purse, I kind of
hold that up so I can see that. That is amazing. That is seriously, that just screams you right there. That is amazing. Where did you get that?
I actually found it at Joy of Living.
Oh, wow, yes, Chris Carpenter. Yep.
Yeah,
love it.
I don't get to go.
I'm surprised it just didn't have your name on it when you bought it. That's just like perfect for you.
I was surprised someone else didn't snap it up. Snap it up.
Yeah, see? Boom.
And it allows me to very easily engage in conversation. I get so many comments on that person. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm a photographer. And they're like, that's just perfect. I'm like, yeah, would you like my card? When you dress your brand, it makes it a little easier to talk about what you do.
Right.
So don't be afraid to say, hey, I love black, so I'm going to wear black all the time. Or I like wearing layers, or I like a certain color, or I like this certain style, or maybe you like several. Be you. Be authentic, be you, be genuine, and embrace it, and be confident with that and comfortable. So I feel like that place I'm in that place as a business where it is me.
Right.
And it makes me very happy. I'm able to say, this is time set aside for my family. My kid has a game this night. My kid has a concert. My daughter has a dance thing. I'm not going to just, bury myself in work. I'm going to say these are blocked off, and I'm not going to touch it. This is for my family. And I'm in a place to do that.
Those are non-negotiables, I call it.
Non-negotiables.
That's awesome.
But to do that, I had to price my value.
Sure.
If I was still selling my work at low rates, I couldn't do that.
Right.
I couldn't make a living.
No, I remember us having this conversation. It might have been around the first of the year. Like, I'm going to step up my pricing, step up my game, even to a whole nother level. And what do you think? And I was like, absolutely. You can't shortchange your value, because I hear people say that a lot. Well, why does it cost so much for you to consult me, Leif? Or why does it cost so much to have Arica photograph me? I'm like, well, how long has Arica been working on her craft? How much time has she spent in the classroom, in the editing room, which I know is hours and hours? How much time with clients? How much time away from her family? How much time to perfect this craft and to the talent, the equipment? I mean, it goes on. And so when you're paying for somebody like you, or investing in yourself, into your lifestyle photos, branding photos, you're getting this total package that's taken years to create, right? And so I think that's always important to highlight, because I think sometimes as business owners, it's easy for us to say, well, this is what people will pay, so that's what I'm going to charge, and it's not enough, but I'm going to live with it. And that's, as we all know, that we come to a point, which you've come to, like, no, this is what I'm worth. This is the value I bring. Not take it or leave it, but gosh, this is what I can do for you. Yeah. And people see that, right? I mean, they're like, holy cow, I want to look like that. I mean, she took this old fat bald guy, made me look amazing. I tell you right there, that's worth $1 million right there.
And that's the thing. I don't see you like that. That's not how I see people. I'm like, man, you just got this powerful, presence, and I wanted that in a photo. And here's what I feel like. Let's say it's not talking about photography.
Sure.
Let's say we're talking about a totally different service. If you invest in me, I will invest in you. And that's the value. That's what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh. quote unquote, if you invest in me, I invest in you. That was so good. I wanted to back up just for a quick second. You were talking about being real, being authentic, being you. More than just a photographer, you're a business woman. You're a mom. What'd you call it, mom?
Mommypreneur.
Mommypreneur. Yeah, I mean, all these things. That's just so powerful. Those are nuggets that anybody can use. Not just women in business. That's men in business. That's just mothers, fathers. You don't even have to be a business person to take some value out of all these amazing nuggets that you've shared. So I appreciate that. So things are going well. Business is good.
Yeah.
Life is good for you.
I've got things that I still definitely want to keep cooking up.
Yeah.
That I'm excited
You've always
about.
got something moving.
I do.
You were sending me those photos the other day of the different, kind of different lighting.
Oh, yeah.
What do you call that style?
It's gel lights that are infused to color the shadow. So instead of having a black shadow, you have this really cool, and it's several shadows. You create several shadows along a spectrum, and they're different colors.
Gel light
and
fusion.
It's not
moly.
photoshopped. It's that's how it's shot in
It's
camera.
so cool.
It's very cool.
I was just thinking too. Every guest I've had on the show, they always blow my mind with some of the things that they share, and they always end up with a quote that always just sticks in my mind. And sometimes it's a funny, silly one. Sometimes it's really serious. And you talked about investing. If you invest in me, I'm going to invest in you. That's a keeper. The other one that you said was the snap it up. I'm going to snap it up. So my prediction is whenever you have your own podcast,
Oh no,
it might be called Snap It Up.
snap it up.
Well, whatever it's going to be called. But anyway, I was just having some
That's
fun there.
fun.
but
That's cute.
yeah.
I like it.
So this is how I always kind of like to wrap up our shows. And so we talked about your why. We talked about your support system. We talked about the reinvention story. We talked about your impact on other people's lives, how you've empowered people like me. And I've seen the mayor photos. I've seen Tony Gaffney's pictures. I've seen Colin's pictures. I've seen Sherry and Carrie's pictures. I mean, all these wonderful people that I know. And I know what it's done for them. I've just watched them just almost grow. It's just, they just come out like, oh my gosh, I really look like that. And so for you, I just want to thank you, because that it makes a difference in people's lives when you can empower others and make them feel better about themselves than before they came and met you. So I appreciate that. Okay. So wrapping it up, what's next? I always like to talk about that. What's next? Because I know you're that kind of person. It's like, what's next on the horizon? Everybody has to have something to look forward to.
Yes.
So what's next for you and Arica Lipp Photography?
Well, I guess what I would say is, I'll give a little bit of a hint of where I'm going, because it's exciting. So the high level of quality and intention that I like to give to my business clients, my personal branding clients, I'm now working on creating this amazing experience for my portrait clients. So when I go into your home for a consultation, I get to learn what your style is, what your taste is, what the vibe is in your home. So I can create your photo shoot of your beautiful family, so it looks like when you walk into that home and there's this beautiful portrait of your family, it was meant to be there. Always. It's at home there. And every time you look at it, it feels joy in your heart. And every time your child looks at it, they go, okay, that was a good day.
Right.
And so these portraits, these prints that are going to be on the wall, they're going to be in these really luxurious, smells like leather albums,
Sure.
This good stuff. I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
They're going to stand the test of time. They're not going to fade. They're going to be super high quality. They're going to be completely customized. I go through hair and makeup, the wardrobe, the works. I will say I start with mom first.
Sure. Mom's the most important one.
Mom's the heart of the home. If she feels and looks great, everything else falls into place. No details lost. So the level of experience I'm providing for my personal branding clients,
Sure.
I want to give above and beyond for my portrait clients now as well.
Wow.
I was always sort of there, and now I'm taking it to a way higher level.
They call that next level when you're hanging out with Leif
Up-leveling,
Welhaven, right.
And I'm a little disappointed when a family that has the same portrait on their wall that the next family does, and the next family. I'm like, so where is your identity in this photo?
Sure.
Where's your family's identity in this photo? And does it fit?
Posing everybody up. Everybody will stand like this and stand like that. And
I may still pose.
Right.
But it'll feel right. It'll have
them.
that. Gosh, they're in that moment, and it's about them.
I love how you said the mom is the heart of the home. Did you hear that, people? The mom is the heart of the home. It's so very, very true. And so I love how you start with mom. I mean, I think that is, we all have a mother, and all, hopefully in most cases that she's amazing. But it's just, I love how you, like you said, whether it's a personal branding shoot or a family portraiture, or even the seniors or the dance pieces, you're getting in and you're bringing everything out of them through the camera lens and onto a portrait or onto Facebook or onto whatever it is, the book, the leather books. I love all of that, and I think that's what separates you. Well, I shouldn't say I think. I know that's what separates you from so many other photographers. That God bless them, but you're able to really bring that out. And so the time that you spend getting to know them, understanding what their goals and desires are, is powerful.
Yeah. Well, and it's not that I'm better than another photographer. There's photographers out there in this community that are, I would say, better than me, but they're different.
Right.
We're different.
There you go.
I know what my strengths are now. I've embraced them, and now I'm sharing that. And
embrace your strengths.
Embrace your strengths. Embrace who you are.
Share them.
Be true to yourself. Don't try to compare and be somebody else. That doesn't ever work in any line of business, I don't think. So, am I the photographer for everybody? Possibly.
Sure.
But I would say that I'm the photographer, the person who cares about those things that I care about. I care about what I'm wearing because I spend hours changing outfits and trying to figure it out. And
sure.
So I go into your closet and I help you and say, gosh, that looks good on you. Let's go with that. Oh, you love this color? Oh, well, let's shoot at this location because that's going to make that really pop. Like, we discuss every little detail that you don't have to worry about. All you have to do is show up, get pampered, get beautified, and
it's so true.
Fun.
Because that day that you shot me, which I want to do again pretty soon,
yes,
as soon as the weather gets nice again. But it is, we were at the Babcock, we were at the Depot, we were at the Boss. I mean, it seemed like we were all over the place, and I was just like, this gal is putting her heart and soul into this. And I was like, I really was. I was blown away. I was just like, she's so invested. It spoke to me. And so I hope that if you're watching, you watch this again and again, or if you're thinking about watching it, you watch it, because there's so many nuggets in there. Be true to yourself, be genuine, be real, be raw, be who you are, invest in you. I'll invest in you, you invest in me. I mean, gosh, so many. You are impressive. I'm not even going to lie.
It's just the truth. It's just the truth.
Oh my gosh.
It was a rough getting there a little bit, but once you let go of the pride and the stubbornness, which is an inherited trait in my family. My poor children have double dose. But the truth is, there is something that whispers in your heart that tells you, you really love this. You're really good at that. And you may not hear it from somewhere else. You may be the only one that hears that voice, like, internally, and you may not get an outside voice that says, hey, you can do this. Hey, you're awesome, pat on the back. You may not get that pat on the back. Right. You got to give it to yourself. You got to stay true to yourself, and it'll win out at the end.
It'll win out at the end, people. Well, there you go. Thank you so much for being on here today. I mean, and I'm not even kidding. That was awesome. There were I'm going to go back and listen to several things you said and write them down. Oh my gosh, that was a good one.
Well, it's always fun hanging out with you, Leif.
Well, you're too kind. Gosh,
and thank
almighty.
you for everything you've done for me, big time.
It's a pleasure. I consider you one of my true friends, and you've just always been there for me through the good times and bad that I've had. And gosh, I love you. I really
always
do.
will.
Always will. Absolutely. Well, anyway, that was the Reinvention with Leif and with Arica Lipp Photography. So as we sign off, don't forget, you can catch us on all the places you find your podcasts. You can watch us again here. It'll be on YouTube. You'll be able to find it everywhere. I'm sure Arica will have it up on her page as well.
Yeah.
But gosh, if you know of anybody that has other stories of reinvention, it could be, again, like I said, themselves, their health, their wealth, the finances, relationships, mental health, physical health. Oh, there's so many. That's the beauty of this topic, is I struggled for a long time trying to figure out what the overarching topic was going to be. In fact, it took me like 2 years. And then once it came up to reinvention, it was just like, that's the one, because everybody's changing and adapting and pivoting and reinventing themselves and their business or organization. And so thank you for being here. We really do appreciate it. I love you dearly. So that's Leif and Arica signing off with Reinvention with Leif Welhaven.